Welcome back to your soon-to-be favorite podcast. I'm Angelica.
And I'm Kelsey.
And this is
Here We Grow. So Kendra just texted me. She said, we were all in the car earlier and this lady turned into the parking lot we were in and did a wide turn. And I said, okay, just whip it out, lady. And JJ repeated me. JJ's her son, who's 4 years old. Son. Sean and I just lost it and I told him to never repeat that.
Oh my God.
Okay, just whip it out, lady.
And lady too.
Yeah. It'd be one thing if you're like, okay, just whip it out.
Dude or something.
Yeah.
Or even just whip it out.
Yeah, whip it out. Okay, just
Put
whip
that
it
thing
out.
back in your pants, or so help me.
Put that thing where back. I can never do it with the
Put
first
that thing
try.
right back where it came from, or so help me.
Put that thing where back. I always say where back.
Yeah.
Put that thing back where it came from. Or so help me.
There you go.
There it goes.
It reminds me of that video you sent me where that guy's grilling burgers and they start singing.
Yes.
F is for friends who do stuff together. U is for you and me. N is for anytime.
Anywhere and anytime at all down here in the deep blue sea.
The guy was
Actually,
like, what the fuck?
first of all, you
It's a
sent that
cult.
video to me. And I uploaded it on stories. Maybe that's what you were thinking of.
Yeah.
Because I saw you liked it. And I was like, I wonder if she knows that I got this from her or if she just thinks I also saw it. And then you still got it wrong because you thought I sent it to you.
Earlier, I saw this post that said, me and my best friend gossip so much, she'd be telling me shit that I tell her. That's totally me and you. Like, well, wait a minute. Well, it's mostly me forgetting that I sent it to you.
Literally seconds before we hit record. Did I tell you about this? Did I tell you about this? I'm like, I don't know. You tell me too many things.
Oh, man.
No, but I was, after I saw that video today, the F is for friends who, whatever. So first of all, the video for the listeners is two girls like grilling and they're like, they just start singing it together because they're like just humming something while they're doing something together. And there's an older guy there and he goes, what the fuck? Like he's never heard this
But
SpongeBob
he's really
song.
concerned. Like, why are you guys singing in unison?
Also kind of sounds culty when you
It
think about it. Like
does.
if you don't know it came from SpongeBob.
F is for friends who do stuff
Yeah, if you sing it really slow,
together.
too.
U is for you and me. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, so when I heard the video today, I was like, I want to start the podcast that way. And I totally forgot. And so it's funny that you brought it up.
SpongeBob is a cult.
Yeah, it really is.
It really is.
Remember I told you Kendra got a tattoo today? She got a SpongeBob and Patrick tattoo.
Shut the fuck up.
Let me show you.
Yeah.
Shout out Kendra.
Oh my God. I love SpongeBob. Like, that is my shit.
Yeah, sometimes we'll put it on YouTube, like clips of it on YouTube, and I'll just be stuck in it, watching it with Cash.
I can literally quote SpongeBob all day long, all the time. What's that word where like you have these catchphrases or sayings in your head? Oh, I love it.
I know, it's so
Is she
good.
going to get it colored in?
I don't know. I have to ask her.
Oh.
Well,
Kendra,
I know
are you getting it colored in? Please comment
she got
below.
this one, which is colored.
Goddamn. oh, wait, that's new. Okay, yeah.
This one's new. You saw this
that,
one.
yeah.
But yeah.
See, I like the idea of getting a tattoo, but actually getting a tattoo, I don't know. I'm traumatized, man.
Oh, from the one on your back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it looked at by someone. My back tattoo is it's not what I wanted it to be like. And no shade, whatever. It is what it is. It happened. It is. It's not terrible. It's just not what I wanted it to be. And I feel like it could be so much better with the right person. Yeah, one day I want to get it fixed up, but I want to be tatted, but at the same time, like, I like my skin.
Speaking of which, tell us about Russ.
Oh my God. First of all, I have to go back and talk about last week's episode when I said that the VIP included me going on stage. No.
Angelica texted me when she was listening back. She's like, I have so many corrections to make about the VIP. I was so wrong.
Well, there was different tiers of VIP, and I think I got the lower one, the cheaper one, obviously. But anyways, so if I could give a piece of advice to anyone, go to a fucking concert alone. It was amazing. Going by yourself, it's like a different vibe. And I'm not saying going with friends is bad or not fun. It is. But going by yourself is like a different kind of fun. You're not worried about literally anyone else. So you're in the zone. You are locked into the artist.
Yeah.
You kind of have to be too. Like,
yeah.
You
don't have anybody to make comments to or like,
oh my God, I love this song. You're just zoned in. You're clicked in. So first of all, I bought Russ tickets, VIP. And let me tell you, if you go alone to a concert, maybe get the VIP, because had I not gotten the VIP, I would have been standing in line for probably a couple hours. And honestly, that's a no-no for me.
Just to get into the venue?
Yeah. So...
Well, and this was a huge arena.
Yeah. At the United Center. And so I got the VIP tickets.
I'm thinking of, because I watched his story when you were like a couple hours before the concert to see what you were seeing on his story.
Yeah.
Because I know you have his story notifications on, don't you?
No. I don't. I don't have any social media notifications on.
One time we were talking and you're like, hold on, Russ posted a story.
Well, I was on. Well, he's the first one that comes up. So like if you go to my Instagram and he has
your
something.
Algorithm has
yes,
it.
he's my first. Like you're my first one right now.
Oh, yeah.
He's the first one that I have that pops up.
So I looked at it and I was like, let me just see what because I know he posts like pre-show stuff. So I was like, let's see what she's seeing or whatever. And he shared Caitlin Clark talking about, I don't know why we're not where the Bulls play.
Oh,
she
goes, like, oh, it must have been something else. It's above my pay grade.
Yeah, and like people were laughing
and
he
was like, see you soon.
Yeah, and that's funny because he's been to Fever games and like Pacers games because his girlfriend's from Indy.
Yeah.
And the same night he was playing in Chicago, the Fever were playing the Chicago women's team.
I feel like he planned it that way though.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
And he went to that game.
Yeah,
he went to
did.
the Fever game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just thought that was funny.
So check-in time for VIP was at 6:30 and I was there like at 6:13, 6:19 maybe around that time. I know.
Wow, you got there early?
I know. But see,
for your husband, that's what you'll do.
Yes. So there was like
so that's the key to getting you somewhere on time. Russ will be there.
Oh my God. So there's like 4 or 5 lines at each gate that literally rounded two blocks. There were so many fucking people and I was like, oh shit, I should have gotten here sooner. Me thinking 6:13 to 6:19. I get 3 of my 9s mixed up. It's a what's it called? A 3 little 6 little 9 little. It's divisible by 3, okay?
Oh.
I get 3, 6, and 9 mixed up. But anyways.
Are you dyslexic?
I don't know. But I was like, oh shit, I thought I was getting here early. Like, I'm gonna have to stay in these fucking lines. God damn it.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'm trying to like look at where VIP check-in is. And I go up to this line that's super long. And I'm like, oh fuck. And I was like, is this where the VIP line's at? And she's like, no. And I'm like, oh, do you know where it's at? And you know me, like, I'm not really shy. Like, I'll go up to anybody and ask whoever. And they're like, you can ask, but they've been really rude about it. I'm like, oh, okay. So I go up to the...
Like, that was kind of rude, but all right.
I go up to the security, and they were so nice. He goes, if you just round the corner and you keep going, you'll see it.
Just go 2 blocks.
And I was like, oh, okay. So I literally went around almost the stadium, like half the stadium.
Oh, wow.
And then I got to a security guard, and I was like, hey, like, again, I see 2 long-ass lines. I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, one of this is probably, like, VIP.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, you know how to get to the VIP section? He was like, you see those doors right there? Just go through them. And I'm like,
just walk through the
doors to the United Center? He's like, yeah, just walk through them. And I'm like, I can do that? And he's like, yeah. You see where those people are going into? Just go in there. And I'm like, oh, okay. I walked right in to the door that said courtside, floor, tickets, whatever, members only. I walked through those doors. I walked through security, and I was in. That's it.
Wow.
Everyone else is standing in line. I just went right in.
So did you have floor seats?
I was on row 9. And then, so I checked in. I got my VIP lanyard. And what's funny is that, so Russ has 2 books out, and I have been debating on getting either both of them or at least his most recent one, like self-help books or, like mental health. But I've just been back and forth on it just because I have this thing about people that I love, like artists that I love. I want to be all about them, but at the same time, I don't want to obsess over it. If that's like I don't want to be up their ass, but like I should be up their ass. I don't know. It's a weird feeling. But anyways, the VIP present was his book.
Oh.
I know.
That's so cool.
I lost it when they handed me the book.
Later.
Oh, it's so cool. I went and got merch, and then I just waited. I just was walking around the United Center just...
They're going to say rocking around the Christmas tree.
No.
Rocking around the Christmas tree.
And then at 6:30, they opened up the doors to get to your seat, and I walked in. I bought myself a drink. She made that shit hella strong.
What'd you get?
I got a Vampiro.
I don't know what that is.
Tequila, I think.
Oh.
Patron. I don't know. Strong shit, girl.
Okay.
I was like 3 sips in and I was feeling it. I got up to use the bathroom. Wow.
Yeah.
And people were smoking weed in there.
Oh, wow.
So I was getting secondhand high.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got my drink. I went to my seat and it was great. Like, guys.
All 2 of you.
He was absolutely amazing. Like, I know I'm biased because I love him, but I've always said this. What makes a great concert is fan interaction. If you can talk to your fans, if you can have like in between songs, or even talk about like, oh, I remember when I wrote this song, this and so was happening in my life. Or I wrote this because of blah, blah, that.
And be relatable.
Because I went to go see Post Malone like 2 years ago. Barely said a word to anybody. And nothing. Like no fan interaction, nothing. He didn't have any dancers or any kind of like nothing. His concert
It was all
sucked.
performance.
It was literally just him. It could have been like him singing karaoke it was so, sorry, Posty, I love you, but your concert, bro, not very concerty.
Hopefully it's improved.
Yeah. But yeah, oh my God, he had so much interaction with the fans, literally like would explain his music or become relatable, like you said, or just make comments or just,
Tell us about the speech.
Yeah. So, one thing that he was saying, which I mean, I was a little bit high and a little drunk, but basically he was trying to explain how like, you don't basically ease off the pressure of yourself. Like your next big idea or your next big thing doesn't have to start out as a big thing.
Right.
It can be something small that you do that just so happens to be this amazing thing that you create.
Right.
Like he obviously didn't know he was going to make it. I mean, he had hope for it.
Mm-hmm.
He worked hard. Obviously, it wasn't handed to him. But, he was just a kid making music and just doing what he loves and just...
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, you gotta start somewhere and just kept doing it.
Right.
And then now,
Consistency.
Yeah, he is where he is today. And I left his concert feeling so inspired, so revived, so renewed, so like... Oh, I was on cloud 9 after his concert. I've had good feelings after concerts, but god damn, like I love him so much. But I was telling Kelsey how it really got me thinking about the podcast. Like, this might be a hard conversation to discuss to our listeners, but it's the truth, okay? Sometimes it's hard for me, I'm going to speak for myself, to share about the podcast, like on my story or just post about it, or I catch myself posting about it and then I delete it off my personal. That's what I mean. Because I like to look at my socials as if I'm someone I don't know.
Their perspective.
Yes. I want to see it. Okay. If you come to my profile as someone who doesn't know me, what are your thoughts on it? And so I'm thinking like, okay, if they click on my profile, they see I have a podcast, they click on the podcast, it's X amount of followers, X amount of likes, X amount of whatever, shares or whatever. Are people going to think that I'm lame? And I get in my head about it and I start to not necessarily feel ashamed of the podcast. That's not it, but it's not a good feeling. And so I was telling Kelsey how, and I've told her I've had this thought of, you know what? I don't want to do the podcast anymore. Either I don't feel fulfilled by it or we're not getting enough listeners. We're not having enough support. Yeah. It's not really going anywhere, which none of that is true. We still have great support. We still have great comments and critiques and everything and feedback. Yeah, that's
got
all
some
true.
Feedback this week I don't even think you know about.
Oh, probably not because I don't check it. But
that's another problem.
Well, you get in your head because you're like, okay, it should have done something by now. Surely we should have been.
We're 50 plus episodes in. Where is it?
Yeah. What
is it?
Where's the return on our investment?
Exactly.
And so I was telling Kelsey how like this going to see Russ and listening to his music and listening to his speeches, it made me think, okay, quitting the podcast is not the solution here.
Mm-hmm.
Making the podcast something I'm proud of, that's the solution. So, okay, if you're not proud of something, don't quit it.
Mm-hmm.
Improve it. How can you do that? Okay, be more involved. I need to be more involved in social media, be more prepared, doing my makeup, doing my hair, because that's what's hindering me from wanting to be on video and posting it. If you know, Kelsey puts a clip up and I don't like how I look, I tend to not share that. And that really sucks because there's something important in that message, or it's funny, or whatever, it's relatable. And I choose not to share it because I don't like the way I look. Or I feel underprepared and I feel like I'm just rambling, or I'm not contributing to the conversation. And why didn't I do that? Because I didn't set the time aside to focus on it. It's like in the beginning, it felt like something, like an outlet for us that was really great, like a break in the mundane routine.
Yeah.
And now I feel like it's more like a chore. And I need to change my mindset of it being a chore to, okay, I want to invest my time and mental and, you know, make this something that I'm proud of.
Right. I think, and for the listeners that weren't a part of the conversation we had before we sat down to record, I have felt the same way. I've had the thoughts of like, do I want to keep doing this? And I was telling Angelica that, you know, the return on investment is not just a financial thing. It's also, you know, how many hours a week are we spending on recording and editing and picking clips and listening back for cuts and proof listening before it gets put out, and making the episode release posts and writing our descriptions. And like, it's gotten to the point where I've been letting like AI write descriptions sometimes because I don't even have the creative wherewithal to write a description. Like, that's why sometimes I'm like, can you just please write a description? Like, I don't have it in me. And so I've been having some of these feelings too. And I do want to continue doing the podcast. I want to make it something we're proud of, but I need the people who listen to the podcast to continue giving us feedback to keep us going. I need Angelica to be more involved so that I'm inspired by her and she's inspired by me. Like, we need to inspire each other.
And hold each other accountable.
Yes. And I was thinking even this week that like, when I'm not feeling like, when I'm feeling like you're pulling away from like the inspiration of the podcast, it makes me less inspired. And so I'm like, what, like, are we still doing this or not? You know what I mean? And then it makes me feel like, well, I don't even want to, like, what am I going to go edit for? Like, what's the point? You know what I mean? Even though it shouldn't be that way. Like, I shouldn't feel, like if we already have an episode recorded that it's not worth putting out. But yeah, I think I'm glad that you had that source of inspiration, because you kind of like fed some of it to me, and some feedback that we got yesterday also fed that. So thank you. You know who you are. Thank you for that. I thanked you in messages. Thank you so much. She listens every week.
I'm going to go look now.
Well, and we were just talking about like, you know, our numbers have gone down a little bit and we don't know who's still listening. You know what I mean? Like, if we don't get feedback that week, we don't know who's still listening. And so it's kind of hard to understand like who's our listeners. Yeah. So she shared, that's not it. She shared our episode release and said, such a good listen, such good conversation about body acceptance or whatever.
That's so crazy. I never, like, the people that you think, this is exactly what we said in the first couple of episodes that we released. The people that we thought were going to listen have still not listened or are nowhere near
50
caught
plus
up.
episodes in. Yeah.
And they've listened to like 2 or 5, if that. And the people that we never would have thought, or people that, you know, we were kind of friends in high school or we knew of each other, they're our biggest supporter.
Yep.
That is
insane.
Blowing my mind.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I pretty much said everything. Like, if you're still listening, if you're still with us, keep giving us feedback, if nothing else.
You know, we should do that. Like, if you've listened to today's episode, if you get to this point right here in this episode, go drop a heart in any one of our recent posts.
Yeah.
Just comment
Story
a purple heart.
Yeah.
anywhere. Because there was a while back where I think Kelsey was getting a little frustrated with our numbers not increasing. And I was telling her, like, we really shouldn't look at that. Like, we shouldn't care about the numbers or how many people we have listening or, how many followers we have or shares or comments or whatever. Like, we got to do this because there are people out there that need to hear what we're trying to say, and they need to listen, and they need to hear this stuff. But I mean, she has a point. Like, this is also an investment for us, and we love doing it, but sometimes we just don't have the motivation to do it.
Well, and what I was saying before we started recording was like, if, sure, one day I would love to monetize and make this a full-time job and, whatever that looks like when we get to it, fine. But what I'm more worried about right now is that we're not reaching enough people. Not money-wise. I don't care about monetizing at this moment in time. I care about the fact that we're not reaching very many people with the messages that we have.
Yeah.
With what important things we have to say, with the conversations we're trying to start, with the societal norms we're trying to defy. How are we going to reach more people so they can hear us, not so that we can monetize off of it? Not necessarily right now.
Yeah. And I was telling Kelsey how, I get it. Before we had this podcast, if I saw a small business or a friend's small business, would I comment? Would I share? Would I, like subscribe or buy something or whatever? There's a real possibility that I didn't. And I get that. If you don't have any skin in the game, you probably wouldn't care. You probably wouldn't think twice about it. But now that we have, and I'm going to call this a business because it basically is. Yeah. It pretty much is a business. Yeah. Now that we have our small business, we see those other small businesses, and I find myself wanting to support them too. Right. Like, oh, I get it now. Yeah. I see you and I get it. And it sucks that sometimes, and I'm not saying this for everyone, but if you just don't know, if you don't know the importance of liking or commenting or sharing, you just don't know. Right. And that's fine. You don't have money to buy merch. That's okay. Like, don't fret on it. But what's free is liking, commenting, sharing, telling a friend about it, putting a friend on. Right. Literally the easiest thing. If you would do that for an influencer, why can't you do that for us?
Exactly. And I was telling Angelica, like, before we had the podcast, I would see giveaways on social media and I didn't know the importance of them. I just thought, oh, giveaway, like, that's cool to get engagement or whatever. But honestly, giveaways are to attract more followers, people that they have not yet reached. That's why they make you comment and tag 2 people so that you are bringing traffic to their social media. And so that was one of the main reasons why we did a giveaway, was because we wanted more traffic to our social media to try to get people in front of other people's eyes, basically.
And we did. We got some new followers from that, which thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yes.
It's like we're stuck in this bubble. Like, we're only reaching the same amount of people we've been reaching for a while now, and we can't seem to break out.
So fun fact, I don't know if anybody knew this, our cheapest piece of merch is $5.05. So just throwing that out there. I'm not saying you have to buy merch, but if you haven't looked at our merch store, our cheapest piece of merch is $5, and that is a sticker or a magnet. You can put the sticker anywhere you want. You can put it in public. You can put it on a telephone pole. The magnet is specifically for cars, technically, but you could put that anywhere as well. So,
and this isn't us, if you know who you are, you know who our most greatest supporters are. Like, we're not talking to you. We love you. We appreciate you so much. It's the people who watch our story and don't do anything.
Remember you were telling me, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Remember you were telling me, like, don't call people out in the story. Like, we shouldn't do that.
I don't want to piss them off.
Yeah.
But also, it's like, we can see you
looking at the story and not doing a single thing about it.
Not doing anything about it.
Can you hear me? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. Can you hear me? Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you sure you can hear me?
I mean, we're in the same room together, so I would hope to still hear you.
Can you see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a little rant. And I mean, like I said, the concert made me feel very inspired, and we're going to put more effort into I'm going to put more effort into it. I'm going to hold myself to it.
I think it sparked inspiration, but it also sparked the conversation that we had today where it was like, where are we at?
Yeah.
Let's talk about where we are at emotionally, where we are at with like what else we have to give to the podcast and how much further we want to go. And I think we got a good little push in us to do more and see how that goes.
Yeah, I was telling Kelsey how like for the longest I've used my, first it was the wedding and buying the house and my divorce as like a crutch to kind of force her really to carry us through. And I've relied heavily on her and I'm really sorry about that. But,
it's okay.
We're all going through it. She has shit too. It's not just me. And I need to, pick up my slack and I will put more into this and make it something that I'm proud of.
Yeah.
Because I would rather be someone with a podcast as small and silly and quote unquote lame as it is than be someone who used to have a podcast.
Amen. Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother. But yeah, so like, share, comment, subscribe. Please and thank you.
Yes.
And buy some merch. Oh my God. Did I tell you that I bleached my floors for 2 hours?
Yeah,
I did tell you that.
Yeah.
I told you that today though, right?
Yeah.
Girl, if you're not bleaching your floors, what the fuck are you doing?
I don't know about for 2 hours.
Oh yeah, no, I started and then I couldn't stop. My mom called me halfway through and I was like, Mom, my body hurts. She was like, well, just stop. I'm like, I can't. My OCD won't let me.
Yeah, your OCD's flaring up a little bit, I think.
Yeah. And we kind of talked about that, why that is. I've had a little obsession on cleaning lately because I feel like I can't let me having this house
go to waste.
Mm. Yeah, go to waste.
When do you feel you'll be ready to do your episode? I'm not rushing you. I just thought we haven't talked about it in a while.
I go back and forth with wanting to talk about the things that I've gone through because half of me is like, just leave it in the past. Just leave it don't bring it back up. Just leave it in the past. Let it go.
Would your therapist tell you to leave it in the past?
No. She would tell me to journal about it.
This is kind of like a journal.
This is kind of like a journal.
Yeah.
But something Kelsey told me is very true. Like there are people out there that would benefit from hearing it. And in the bits of pieces that I have shared, people have told me that they have.
I was going to say there are people we personally know today that could benefit from hearing it.
Yeah.
100%.
Did you hear that growl?
Is this probably?
I was like, oh, that's not. I just heard it again.
He's humping his bed.
Growling?
He's going like, like he's winded.
Oh, it's a car.
I'm like, I hear outside noises and I hear Bolin humping his bed.
So, we're gonna do a multi-piece, multi-episode segment. So the first part is going to be about narcissism.
Yep.
And the different types of narcissism.
Yep. Bet you didn't know there were multiple types.
I didn't know that until recently.
Bet you didn't know what narcissism really is, because some people don't know.
Yeah. Some people think that we all have a narcissistic side to us, and that's not true at all.
Not true. No.
Not true at all.
No.
And then, see, I'm already like fidgeting, like just thinking about it. And then,
I feel like you're like your best focused self when you're fidgety, though.
Yeah, me too. I think that too. It's hard to relive the past for multiple reasons. It's like, well, no shit, you dumbass bitch. Like, of course.
Yeah.
But
again, it's important for people to hear, like, this can happen to you.
Yeah.
Whether you think you're smarter than me or not.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't know if you guys listened to the podcast, Something Was Wrong, but it's something that, Kelsey put me on. And it's, if you don't, guys, if you want another podcast to listen to in addition to ours, listen to Something Was Wrong.
In addition, not instead of.
Yeah. They go over survivor stories, and in my head, I think that I'm like, why would you do that?
But then I'm like, you remember you did this.
I was like, oh wait, it is easy to fall into these toxic relationships. I mean, it was the perfect storm multiple times to either keep me in or suck me back in. It just was.
Yeah.
It just was until it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's hard because now I'm dealing with the fact of like, was any of it real? Was any of it actual love? Did I waste 10 years of my life? Like, all that for what? What do I have to show for it? This is what I have to show for it. Knowledge, growth, accountability, empathy for myself and others, understanding. Now I take inventory of my feelings. I sit in my feelings and I ask myself, why am I feeling this way? Yes, I'm an overthinker, but now I'm an overanalyzer, and that's okay. That's better than just being on nonchalantly, setting boundaries and sticking with them.
So proud of you for the boundaries you've set.
And no longer sacrificing my happiness for the comfortability of other people.
Amen. Women.
And that is what I have to show for
Have you ever heard the quote? I've seen it going around social media recently. That's you can't love yourself if you hate the things you've gone through. You have to come to like a neutrality with the things that you've come to truly love yourself, because they're a part of who you are. Yeah.
I mean, you and I talked recently about forgiving myself for things in the past that I've done.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's another thing too, is I'm kind of struggling with is if I'm going to talk about what happened, I need to talk about the parts that are ugly, that things that I have done to, okay. In every relationship, let me back that out.
Okay.
A good question to ask when you're dating, this is just a general rule of thumb, like, you know, for those people that are dating, is ask them what part did they play in the downfall of their last relationship?
Right.
Because not everyone's innocent. And they may have played a part they might not have.
Right.
But it's hard for me to understand that at one point in time, and I was with this man for 10 years, at one point in time, there was a critical piece that I played to further the downfall of our relationship.
Like the toxicity of it.
Yeah. Like I played into it. I stooped to his level and I went lower.
Yeah.
And I did something that was so out of character for me. He brought out the absolute worst in me. And it's still even hard to talk about the things that I chose to do because that's not me. And it's hard to think that I did that, but I did that. And so I tell myself, in order to tell this story, I have to also come face to face with the decisions that I made. And that's hard.
Yeah.
But I have to, because it wouldn't be fair if I said, well, he did this and he did that and he, you know, A, B, C, and D, and F. A, B, C, D, E, F. Yeah, I said that right.
No, you didn't.
Oh, did I miss the E?
You said A, B, C, and F.
You know what I mean. You know your alphabet. But you know what I mean? Like it now okay.
Well, before you go any further, I was going to say there are people in your position who have realized in their healing journey that they only acted that way because that person forced them to be that person. Like once you're with someone who is like this for so long, you start taking on their characteristics because it's almost like a survival tactic. Like, how am I going to survive the next year with this person? I'm going to have to stoop to their level. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was going to say, granted, you know, 85% of it was him.
More than 85. More than 85.
You know, I did something that was awful, which in some people's book, it isn't awful.
If you took 10 years of time and the time in which you did something bad, that's not 85-15.
That's true. I made a decision. I made a mistake that has weighed heavy on me. And I've always done that. Like I used to compare like, well, I've never done anything as bad as him. But then it came to the point where it's like, wait, maybe it is worse than what he's done. But that's not true either.
Do you remember? This is turning into a therapy session. Do you remember when, not too long ago, we were talking about.
Wait, but that's the. Hang on, sorry,
Okay.
sorry. It brings me back to this TikTok that I saw. But that's the difference between me and a narcissist. I literally have sat here with the guilt of something that happened 7
Ruminating
years
over it.
ago.
Yeah.
And I still cry and get choked up about it. And I feel so fucking guilty for it.
Yeah.
But will he ever sit there and feel guilty for the 10 years of hell he put me through?
Doesn't even take full accountability.
He will never think twice about it.
Mm-mm.
Meanwhile, the one mistake that I committed,
Yeah.
and I'm so distraught about it.
Yeah.
To this day.
So I wonder, I'm trying to connect something. So months and months ago, like maybe around the time that we started the podcast, a few months after, we had a conversation where we discovered that a part of your OCD, or maybe it's like an imposter syndrome thing. You got to squeeze the thing. Squeeze this. I hurt mine too when I squeezed mine.
Ow.
Ow.
Ow, that hurt. Charlie.
You said that you don't believe you're a good person.
Ooh.
Did that feeling start before or after that event?
Maybe after. Maybe after.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about that event at length.
Actually, I think you're right, because when I got with this person, I mean, I was 16, almost 17, I felt like I didn't deserve to be loved, or I didn't deserve a good relationship, or to be in a relationship, period.
Well, I mean, your parents looked over you, so that would contribute to not feeling like you deserve love.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think after this incident, I felt like I was a bad person. I feel like what I did automatically labeled me as a bad person.
Mm.
Wow. I think you're right. And honestly, I have stopped feeling that since being
Single.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm a great person.
That's good.
And I think I'm more than deserving.
I remember like we had a conversation like right in the doorway where I was like, you know, you're a good person, right? And you're like, you know, sometimes I think I'm a good person, but then I think like, well, sometimes like I think bad things about people. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't make you a bad person. Like if you feel like somebody's is it because they treat you badly, then you have a bad thought about them? Or like,
sometimes, yeah.
Okay, then if they're treating you badly, you have all rights to feel badly about them.
I haven't felt that way in a long time. And I will say this. So there have been multiple times, and I'll say this. Okay, so there was an invitation. This happened a couple times, but I remember this incident specifically. So related to a couple times. Okay. There were a couple times where him and I were invited places or events or gatherings or to do something. Mm-hmm. And he made the decision not to go. Mm-hmm. And I would be sad about it, and I would regret it. So for example, there was a wedding that we were invited to, and I was so excited about going. But he was getting a tattoo, and for one reason or the other, I ended up not going either. I don't know if it's something he said or something that made me not want to go because of whatever was happening, but I ended up not going. Mm-hmm. It's like he either made the decision for me or I made the decision
based off his emotions.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And it happened a lot during my own wedding. There were a lot of decisions that were made in my wedding that he made. And it was almost like, well, I put my stamp of approval, so surely I back him up too. Mm-hmm. But they weren't decisions that I agreed on.
Yeah. Or even about the house, you've said.
Yeah. Like, for example, there were certain people that I wanted on my court. First of all, my initial reason was I don't want to have a court. I don't want to have bridesmaids and
ask everybody to
groomsmen.
pay.
Yeah, like I don't want that.
Right.
But he did.
More simple. Mm-hmm.
I wanted specific people, which don't get me wrong, the people that were in it were absolutely chosen. But there were more people that I wanted, and he said no. Mm-hmm. And
so you were like, I don't want to have a court because I don't want to burden all these people with all this money, and we're having a joined wedding at the church anyway. No. And then he was like, well, we're going to have a court. And so you were like, okay, well, if that's the case, then I want all the people that I want to be on the court. And he was like, no.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted my brothers to be groomsmen,
Mm-hmm.
and he said no. And we argued so much about it, and it caused a big rift in my family. My brothers ended up not going to my wedding.
Yep.
My brothers ended up telling me some pretty fucked up shit, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I fought for them so hard to be in the wedding, but it to no avail.
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck does that?
Yeah.
What groom would allow that?
Right.
And I remember he asked a couple people for their opinion, and no offense, but like their opinion didn't matter.
Right.
Just because you have people backing you up on your decision doesn't matter. I matter. My happiness matters. This is my wedding too.
Right.
But because the decision at the end was they're not going to be groomsmen, I feel so guilty because, again, that's my stamp of approval. Like, not necessarily my stamp of approval, but it didn't have my...
Like you conceded. Basically.
Yeah, like I conceded, exactly. And that happened multiple times in our relationship. And I remember multiple decisions that either he made or that I made based off of, like you said, his emotions or lack of my winning the argument per se.
Right.
That I look back and I'm like, damn, I missed this. I missed that. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So anyway, going back to our segment, before we got into that. So the first part is going to be about narcissism and the different types of narcissists. And then, I will be opening up and talking about...
We'll do a timeline.
Yeah, we'll do a timeline. It's hard because there's a lot of things that my brain has chose to forget in order to protect myself.
Yeah.
And
we'll have to spend quite a lot of time preparing for the episode.
Yes. There were quite a bit of moments that I forgot. One super, super very important, scary moment that had happened that my brain just kind of stored away and it didn't come back until we separated. And I was like, oh shit, that did happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's a survival tactic. Like if you're going to survive with this person, you have to forget it.
Yeah. And now looking back and I'm like, God damn, like I just forgave that.
Mm-hmm.
I just acted like it was okay. Like we just went back to normal, like nothing. And
if you don't understand that, go back to the trauma bonding episode.
Yeah.
It's like number 8 or something.
And it's not always these big moments that happen. Don't get me wrong. There were tons of big moments.
Right.
But it's also like these little moments. And I'll share one with you. It was a couple months before our wedding, I feel like. Oh, no, it must have been after. I don't know. It was sometime in the fall, like this past fall. Mm-hmm. And I like to wear hoodies underneath jean jackets. Mm-hmm. And
that's like my worst nightmare. I'd feel so restricted.
What?
I can't even wear a coat in the winter because I feel restricted. Like my arms are restricted.
Oh, I love a hoodie underneath a jean jacket. But anyway, so I like to pull the sleeves of the sweater past the jean jacket.
Right.
And he was trying to tell me that didn't look right. And I said, well, I don't care what it looks like. Like I like it this way. This is how I express myself. I like it. This is what it is. And he kept scolding me because that's what he did a lot of the time is scold me. Mm-hmm. He kept telling me to push the sleeves back in because it didn't look right. And I'm like, no, I like it this way. Yeah. And we were in the truck. And then as soon as we got in the truck, he said, no, put those sleeves back in. And he grabbed my wrist.
Things back where they came from. So help me. I'm sorry. My brain did it. I'm sorry.
He grabbed my wrist and forcefully tried to shove the sweater sleeves back into the jean jacket. So much so that he scratched my wrists and made them bleed.
Oh my God. I never knew about that.
Who the fuck does that?
Why do you care so much about what I'm wearing that you are forcibly changing the way I look?
And that actually got me thinking. I was thinking about that today. I feel like I have no sense of style because anything I would wear, he would critique it. Mm-hmm. And whenever he would quote unquote dress me, he would make it known to other people. Oh, I styled her. Mm-hmm. She was thinking about wearing this, but no. And it gets me thinking about how narcissists, it's like a funny, it's almost ironic. Mm-hmm. It's like for a narcissist, you're a reflection of them. Mm-hmm. Like they want someone who's well educated. Yeah. Someone who's a trophy, essentially. Yes. He would gloat about how, I graduated from the Kelley School of Business and I'm super smart and here's my job title and blah, blah, blah.
But then tear you down behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's classic narcissism. They want you to look good for them in front of other people because you are a reflection on them.
Exactly.
But then behind closed doors, you can't be better than me.
Exactly. So it even got to how I dressed. Why do you care so much? Like, you forcibly grabbed my wrist and made them bleed. Mm-hmm. What was the point of that? Anyway, so what I was trying to get at is it's not always these big blow up moments. It's small things like that.
Yeah.
Like,
or even smaller than that.
Yeah, even smaller than that. Yeah. Even when he would...
I would say that's like medium large.
Even when he would go on and on about something, I always get that phrase wrong. Stonewall, gray stone, gray rock. Stone, gray rock. Brown rock. Black, brown rock. Gray rock. I would
Red fish, blue fish, one fish, two fish.
I would gray rock him because he would just keep going on and on and on. Mm-hmm. And my survival tactic was just to be quiet and let him get it all out. And this will all be over soon.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And we've talked about where that comes from too.
Yeah. So
you have that to look forward to.
It's a lot. I mean, it's 10 years.
When you go to therapy, just tell your therapist to listen to the podcast. So we've already figured out most of this.
Episode 57, part 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Yeah. And then call me back.
Right.
But yeah, so it's a lot. Okay. Hang on. There's something I want to say. I did not mean to drop that.
Mic drop. There's something I want to say. Mic drop. You're supposed to say it first, then mic drop.
Oh, man. Hang on. I think it's in... Oh, I might have...
So while she's looking for what she's looking for, we're going to do 3 parts. One is going to be like information on narcissism.
I got it.
The second one is going to be your story timeline from start to finish. And the third one is going to be risk factors for people who would get into a relationship like this and how to get out of it and stay out of it.
Yeah.
That'll be the 3 parts because we never got to the third part.
Third part. This is a quote. It says, "Narcissists try to destroy your life with lies because theirs can be destroyed with the truth."
Ooh!
Mic drop. That wasn't very powerful. Hang on. I didn't feel too good either.
No, it's not getting the thunk noise that we need.
Yeah, so if...
Mic drop. Thunk.
If you've been watching... you may have realized or may have noticed that he ran to anyone and everyone who would listen and would try to put his side of the story out first.
Yep.
And would try to paint himself as the least possible monster-looking person.
Well, if this is any...
And diminish his responsibility.
If this is any consolation, or if this is any proof of that truth... The first person he called after he was caught in what he was doing was your mother.
Yes.
And why was that?
To try to get her on try to get him on his side.
Try to get her
on his side.
Yeah. To try to push his narrative and his truth.
Mother.
Yeah.
My mother.
He didn't call his best friend. He didn't call his brother or his mother. He called your mother.
Mm-hmm. How manipulative is that?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, he, he's not anymore, was very vocal about the breakup and how he's not a monster and blah, blah, bullshit. And
we'll talk about those posts because I want to talk about the specific lack of accountability.
Yes. I've, for the most part, have chosen to be less vocal. And I mean, sure, did I share videos and reels hinting at stuff? Of course.
Yeah. I
can.
Well, and that's the way that you were able to control your narrative.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing too. Like, I'm not, we all have a right to express ourselves. I get that. I'm not saying he shouldn't have done all that.
Yeah.
But if you're going to talk about it, say the fucking truth.
Right.
And for the most part, like I said, I've stayed quiet. Haven't said or screenshot, you know what I mean? I haven't posted anything really.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that.
Because you're waiting for your day.
Well, that, and I have nothing to prove to anyone.
Right.
He does.
Yep.
Sure. And that's all I can say for right now.
And coming soon. Podcast near you.
Yeah, I've had a couple people ask me, like, when am I going to talk about it? Or, it's coming. It's hard, but it's, and then also too, easy to forgive and forget.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it's like a tactic for your brain to protect yourself, that I had started forgetting stuff. So this will be a good
reminder.
Yeah, and like a record. It's on record.
Yeah.
Like this is what's
like a
happened.
journal.
Yeah. And it's ugly, it's nasty, it's
scary,
and
but it's also freeing.
Mm-hmm.
The end of the story is very freeing. The end of the story shows that there can be better. Which brings me to the quote of the week. 54 minutes into this recording.
Shut up. We're almost at an hour.
We've been talking for 54 minutes.
And that's the beauty of a podcast.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, honestly, I'm not sure we could do better with what we had planned.
Honestly, no.
Because we're going to really talk about this.
Okay.
Okay. Ready?
Yes.
You got to be listening.
I'm listening.
To be able to talk about it. Quote of the week. Quote of the week. You do it. Quote of the week.
Now you do it.
No, you do it. You do it better.
You're like a little kid. Now you do it.
Quote of the week. Okay, you probably saw this on my story, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's important.
Okay.
Actually, it was on the podcast story. You can have all the love in the world and still be at the wrong table because love is about intention, not just feelings. Okay, we have talked about...
Wait.
Go ahead.
That reminds me of another quote.
Okay.
You can be the full package and be at the wrong address.
Boom, son.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The major theme that I wanted to hit on in this was love is not enough. Okay.
I would always say that.
And we've said that a lot in the last few months.
Mm-hmm.
There's proof in relationships like the one that you just got out of, and other relationships that we've seen in other people, that love is not enough. And this explains why, okay? Something I said earlier today. You can love someone and not like them. You can like someone and not love them. You can love someone and not have any respect for them. You can love someone and want badly for them, or you know what I'm saying? Like being in love with somebody, if you're listening right now and you have love for someone, you love someone with your whole heart, but your relationship is toxic and it's harming you, or it's harming your children, or they don't have respect for you, or they don't want to see good in you, or they're too miserable to want to see good in you, love is not enough to stay. Love is not enough reason to stay. Just loving, like that would be the same thing for abusive parents. Okay. If you still have if you're an adult and you have parents who are, say, narcissistic, or they say things to you that hurt you, just because you love them doesn't mean you need to have a relationship with them. Love is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Love is not enough of a reason to continue being harmed, because love is not supposed to be hurtful.
Mm-hmm.
Love is not supposed to be hurtful.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Love is not supposed to be hurtful. Love is not supposed to hurt. I think I have something else that's compared to that.
Another thing that I would say to him is say what you mean and mean what you say. Because if you're just saying things to hurt me, that's not okay.
Right. Absolutely.
And if you're saying things to hurt me, then this isn't a good relationship.
Right.
And you know what? A lot of it comes down to respect. A lot of it comes down to a lot of things, but one of the main keys is respect. If they respected
we have a TikTok
you,
about that.
If they respected you, they wouldn't lie to you. If they respected you, they wouldn't harm you. If they respected you, they wouldn't hide stuff from you. If they respected you, they'd be honest, they'd communicate, they would be empathetic towards your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
They would be considerate. If they respected you, like,
absolutely,
you would know.
Yep. You would feel it.
You would feel it.
Yep.
And I had people tell me, his family members, in other words, and more words or less, to stay with him.
Yep.
To continue receiving abuse.
Yep. Yep.
After they knew. Now, granted, I don't think he's told them what he's done. And I have some regrets of maybe not telling them myself, but it doesn't matter, because even the parts that they did know, that should have been enough. Like, yeah, dude, run.
Yeah.
But even then, that's my decision. And this is my decision. And I was with him for 10 years. You think I didn't try hard enough? Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
You think I didn't give it my all?
Right.
Oh, what? So just after 10 years, you're just going to let that go? Yes.
Yes. Because that's the best option for me.
For me. Mm-hmm. I'm the only person watching out for me.
I'm sorry that the person that you love is going to be hurt by that, but they've hurt me for 10 years.
Who's looking out for me? Mm-hmm. Who's making sure that I'm safe? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Who's making sure that I'm happy?
Right. Yeah.
Continue sacrificing my happiness for what? For their benefit? Mm-hmm. To continue using me? To continue their comfortability? Mm-hmm. Like, for what?
Exactly.
That's not fair to me.
I actually wrote down this thought at work a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I need to add this to some conversation, but I don't know what it is. So I'm just going to write it down and I'll reference it. And here it is. I find it very weird that your loved ones or anyone's loved ones would fight so hard to keep you from leaving someone that's hurting you. If someone truly loves you and truly cares about you, they would not try to keep you. And I'm talking about actual loved ones, not his loved ones, your own loved ones who hears the abuse that you've gone through and been like, you could just stay with them. Like, who?
Or it's a marriage.
Yeah.
You know who fucking voided that contract? Mm-hmm. He did. Mm-hmm. It's a fucking contract and he voided it the next day, 2 days later, the week after, the month after.
Yep.
He voided
it during his vows because he knew he was being unfaithful during his vows.
So after that, I'm not voiding. The contract was already voided, baby.
Yep.
The contract was already done for.
Right.
I was just making sure it was legally.
Do you think God wants me to stay in this relationship, this abusive relationship? Is there any godly love coming out of this relationship?
Is he godly? Not. Is he worthy of me?
That part. I was going to say something that a virtue per se, that I have been thinking a lot about lately. And that is a good tell for if someone is a good person, is if they have honor. She had to pick up her microphone to go,
yes, honor.
Yes.
Yes.
If someone has honor, you know that.
I've been thinking about
you know
a lot
by
about
their
that,
energy, about the way they treat you, if they have honor. Mm-hmm. And the best way to explain that is like, are they worthy? Mm-hmm. Are they worthy of being loved by other people? Are they worthy of your kindness? Are they worthy of your benefit of the doubt? Are they worthy of God's love? You know what I'm saying? Like if that's something you believe in, are they worthy? And if they're not, they don't have honor. Mm-mm. And you shouldn't affiliate. You shouldn't affiliate yourself with people who don't have honor because they have nothing else to lose. If they don't have honor, they have nothing else to lose.
Yeah,
or they have everything to lose, and that's dangerous.
Yeah. I struggled a lot with that too. I mean, we'll obviously talk more about it when that episode comes out, but I struggled a lot with that. Like, damn, I am getting a divorce. Mm-hmm. Like I'm the one, which that sucks.
Yeah.
For him to do me as dirty as he did and putting the burden on me to make the decision to file for divorce, go through with it, go to court. Going to court is scary.
Yeah. Even
though I wasn't a criminal case, I still felt like I did something wrong. Like,
yeah, you're highly anxious going to court.
Highly anxious. So many emotions. Yes. Even just filing, I was a fucking wreck.
Yeah.
Like all of those decisions were put on me and therefore I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
I'm the one who filed for divorce. I'm the one who ended this relationship. Mm-hmm. But like, and I would often find myself justifying why I did what I did because I would struggle with it. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, okay, could this have been saved? And honestly, a week after I found out the truth of some shit, which we will talk about, I told Kelsey, I was like, I think I can make this work. If we just go to church, if we just go to Campbell's counseling.
Campbell's counseling.
Couples counseling. If I can, and you know what I said? I can fix this. Mm-hmm. Not once did I think we can fix this. Mm-hmm. I can fix this. Okay. I can make this all go away. Mm-hmm. I'll just forgive and we'll move past it. I'll move past it and we can do this. It won't like as if it didn't even happen. We can do this. We can work on this. And once he started to not allow me to process my feelings or give me space or give me boundaries, or he was just straight out being fake and showing his narcissistic sides, that's what led me to being like, nah, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. I can't. This is who you are.
He couldn't let you create your own narrative. He had to make sure that you only had his narrative.
Which is exactly...
He could control the narrative.
Which is exactly why it took me so long and so many times to leave, because every time I wanted to leave...
You let him control the narrative.
Yeah.
You know what's funny?
Sorry, I thought about that too. Sorry.
I'm the forgetter here.
I often think about that when we had a friend who was in an abusive relationship, and you had said... The abuser had all the power. They had the power to release you, and they didn't. Yeah. And I often think about that with my abuser, and I'm going to call him what it is. He's an abuser. Yeah. He had all the power. Not once did I ever beg him to stay. I begged him to act right, but I never begged him to stay. Right. It was always me trying to leave and him not letting me. Yep. He held the power.
He held the power because he knew he could control you. Yep. Yeah, I remember the friend you're talking about. I used to say, I just wish I could talk to that person, that guy, and say, please just let her go. Please, if you don't want to be with her, let her go. Stop pulling her back in. She's not strong enough to let go of you. Let her go. And I want to go back to something you said a minute ago where you said, after everything went down, you were like, you know what? I can make this work. That's funny that that's how you felt during that moment, because when you first texted me about what was going on, which was like the next day, I believe, I remember being surprised about how angry you were. Because in the past, you would have maybe told me a couple of weeks later, and by that time, you weren't as angry. You had kind of justified what happened or whatever. I was surprised at how angry you were, and in my mind, I was like, oh, she's really done this time. She's really done, because the offense is not you played with my emotions. The offense is you ruined my wedding day. You tainted my wedding day. You ruined you tainted everyone's view on my wedding day. And you ruined 10 years in the making of all the work that you put into this relationship to make it what it was. Because you were dragging him along. And here we are. But I do remember thinking like, oh, she's really done this time. Because of how angry you were at the very beginning.
That's the thing. I would let him, and he told me too. Like, again, we'll talk more when it comes to it, but just know that I found some shit out on a Monday, and I found the iceberg.
Oh, yeah, the tip of the iceberg. Not the whole iceberg, just the tip.
The tip of the iceberg. Yeah. Started on Monday, and I didn't find majority of things out until that Friday. Yeah. And what's crazy is he admitted to me on that Friday, because more things happened between that week, but he admitted that Friday that basically, in other words, that he thought I would get over it by Tuesday. But when Wednesday came around and I was still upset, he made things worse, and he made a couple decisions, and he knew that I wasn't letting this go. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. I wish I could say more, but I'm just, you did that shit to me on a Monday, and you thought I was going to get over it the next day. That just goes to show you
how much control he knew he had.
Yeah. He was like, oh, she'll just get over it. Yeah. And once Wednesday came around, I was still not letting it go.
I've been through this before. Yep. I know what the protocol is. Yeah.
She'll be over it and give her a day or two. She's just emotional right now. It'll be fine.
It took him how long? 7 months to get his stuff out of the house? Because he thought you were still going to get over it 7 months later.
Yeah. And I just want to say something, and the girlies that know. And I mean men too, I guess. When I found out the bigger piece of this, I let out the best way I can describe it, the most primal scream cry I've ever let out. Yeah. I remember it being so loud over the phone when I called him and I found out, and he had nothing to say for himself, basically. Or at first he was shocked because he didn't think I had proof. And I'm like, I have proof.
Yeah. And
once he tried to, run it back.
Yeah.
And I knew he had been caught. And I knew what this meant. I didn't think about it. This scream cry just came out of me. It was so primal and it was so loud and it was so long that I could have sworn, I'm like, the neighbors heard me for sure. Mm-hmm. I have chills on I have goosebumps.
Yeah.
All over my body. And I literally said to myself, like, after, things started dying down and I had made the decision to get a divorce, I said to myself, like, I never want to feel that again.
No one will ever make you feel like
that again.
No
one will ever make me feel that way again. Mm-hmm. No one will ever make me scream, cry like that, gasp for air when I'm crying, mm-hmm. when I can literally feel my heart breaking.
Yeah.
He's done that to me a couple times where I literally feel like someone is grabbing my heart and squeezing it, mm-hmm. and I can't get enough air in. Mm-hmm. I can't, or it literally feels like I'm being stabbed. Mm-hmm. Like it's an awful feeling.
Emotional pain can translate to physical pain, physical symptoms.
And we'll talk about that too. Mm-hmm. I had physical pain too. Mm-hmm. Like this man gave me so much anxiety. I went to the doctor and thought I had like some kind of stomach ulcer. Mm-hmm. I knew for a fact I had something medically wrong with me, and the test came back all normal.
Yeah.
And it took her touching my stomach, and I was sobbing. My doctor, and she was like, "I think you just hold your stress in your abdominal."
You hold your stress to your abdomen.
In your abdomen. I almost said abdominal. You hold your stress in your abdomen. Mm-hmm. And it was this man made me have the highest, I peaked in my anxiety for a year.
Mm-hmm. And you considered going on medication?
Yeah, because it was so bad.
Yeah. Which, nothing against medication, but like it was got to the point where you're like, I have nothing else.
I went to the doctor because I could not handle the pain anymore. Mm-hmm. And there was nothing physically wrong with me.
Yep.
It was all emotional stress and anxiety.
Yeah.
This man. And he did not give a fuck about it.
Nope. Probably would have told you to suck it up.
Oh, guys, I can't wait. Like I said, it's hard to talk about it.
But then once we get going,
but
it pours out.
I get angry sometimes because, I have friends that still have him on social media, and they share with me sometimes what he posts, and it's so angering mm-hmm. because he tries to make himself the victim.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
Yeah. Well, and we had this conversation where I was like, when you're really upset about him posting things that make him seem like the victim, just remember that he's trying to make himself feel better. It's all about him trying to make himself feel better because he's sad. And that's all right. Because you'll have your day. Coming soon to a podcast near you. We've damn near told so much on this episode. Guys, we're supposed to do a part 2 body image today.
We're going to take a quick break and we'll get on that.
Late. Call back to SpongeBob.
Recording?
Yep.
Hello, we are back.
We're back. It's only been about 2 minutes.
And we've made a decision.
In 2 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. We are going to be doing part 2 of Body Image a couple episodes from now.
Yeah.
That was today's plan, but obviously it did not go as planned.
Well, and what we said after we... Well,
I was like screaming.
What we said was... No, what we said after we stopped recording was, like, sometimes our best episodes are us just starting to talk and just not shutting up for
literally,
an hour.
I had no intention about talking about my ex. I just thought we were going to talk about Russ and then the podcast, and then it just went on from there.
I think that was great.
I don't even know how it led to that.
I asked you if you're ready to tell your story.
Kelsey. So it's your fault.
I was just baiting you a little bit. I didn't know we would do that for like 40 minutes, but
it's hard because sometimes I just want to tell y'all. I just want to
she's a big mouth. We know it.
Some screenshots. I just want to But you know what? All in due time and properly. Like there's a
Properly.
right and a wrong way to do these things. Not for everyone, but there's a right and there's a best way to do it for me, I guess I should say.
And to do it on a media platform like this.
Yes. And
doing it for the matriarchy.
Doing it for the matriarchy.
Those episodes will be for the matriarchy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Ugh.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, well, we'll see y'all next week. Have some merch.
I baptize my niece tomorrow.
Yes.
So that's going to be awesome.
Congratulations, godmother.
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 She is my 4th godchild.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Got a lot of godchildren. What are you going to do with all of them if all their parents die? Oh, that's not the real reason you're the godparent, is it? Or is it?
I mean, it could be, but that was a very morbid question, Kelsey. I mean, I have 2 empty rooms essentially, so
that's true.
And come right on in.
Come right on in.
Bring your own sofa, TV, and beds. Oh my God. Okay, so I think we talked about this where he came and picked up his stuff, and now that there's nothing for sounds to bounce off of, everything in the house is so fucking loud.
Yeah, scary.
It's scary.
Sorry.
You weren't supposed to confirm it.
Sorry.
But yeah, no, it has
That'd
been.
be scary for me if I was here.
At night, and especially because Bolin doesn't like the door being closed in the bedroom. He has to have it open, obviously. He's a protector. Like, in case something happens, he needs to run out the door.
Yeah.
So I have to keep it open, and so I hear everything. And it wakes me up, and I'm like, oh my God.
We cannot sleep with our door open. It's also not fire safety.
I know. But every other door is closed, so...
Oh, yeah, I guess it would be contained in another room.
If
but not if it came from the kitchen or the living room.
I know. But I can't. He doesn't like it.
Yeah.
He does not like being enclosed.
Yeah.
I don't think I would like it either. Like, I would prefer to keep it open if you know, God forbid. But my rule of thumb has been, you know, if Bolin's not worried about it, neither am I. Like, I'm going to go back to sleep.
He can discern whether it's an alarming sound or not.
Yeah. Does he need to check it out?
He's here all day long with the weird fridge sounds.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Anyway, like, share, comment, subscribe, buy some merch.
Yep. Share our podcast with a friend that might like it.
Yeah. Help us grow.
Help us grow. Here we grow.
We should have a campaign. Help us grow. And just like a week long of posting and sharing and like getting our people to just comment or not comment, just sharing. Like all week.
Sharing is the biggest thing.
We're going to pick a week. You know, we're going to do this. We're going to pick a week.
Okay.
Where every day.
President Angelica.
we're going to post a week where we're just going to blast, you know, our advertisement of getting on the podcast. And we're just going to ask all of our followers to just share. Put on your story.
Yep.
Just one full week. Just do it.
Yep. Absolutely.
From a Saturday to the next time we record.
Yep. I agree.
Okay, let's do it then.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.